are back to work after 3 weeks strike by members over government's non-payment of political neutrality allowance. Our Bono East Regional Correspondent Samuel Ayama is currently at the Techimai Municipal Assembly and joins us live with an update. Samuel, over to you.
How do you feel? They say you didn't call me to stand me by.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News. We're trying to get through to our Bono East Regional Correspondent. He's having challenges hearing us. Samuel Ayama, if you can hear me, we know you are currently at the Techimai Municipal Assembly. What can you report?
Region, when I visited some of the municipal assemblies. Hello.
Because the feedback is slow when you monitor on the screen. Use your headset, Samuel, if you can hear me.
Okay.
We are ready for you. We can clearly hear you, and I'm sure you can hear me.
Yeah. Region, the various assemblies that I visited, all the members of the CLOSAC, they are back attending to their normal activities, and then visit some of the public. New report. They are just doing a very big mistake here.
We're having a feedback challenge with Samuel Ayama. We will bring him back on once we have him. You are watching News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. At this point, I'd like to go for a quick break. We will be back with more stories on the CLOSAC resumption of their 3-week strike.
There are strong women whose stories teach us perseverance, logic, decisiveness and self-confidence. Being strong is not just about physical abilities, but also emotional, intellectual and mental strength. Women's Voice is a platform to hear and share stories to encourage women and girls. Women are the real architects of society. It is they who provide the foundation of power, grace, wisdom, justice, creativity and hope. Join us live every Monday at 4 p.m. on GBC News and GTV, Wednesdays live at 4 p.m. on GBC News and a repeat on Saturdays at 4 p.m. on GBC News and Sundays at 3 p.m. also on GBC News. Women's Voice. No one can make you inferior without your consent.
You welcome back. Still on the clock-sack resumption after a 3-week strike in the northern region. Checks at some district assemblies reveals that members of clock-sack have returned to work. Correspondent Mutala Issa joins us from the Kumbungu District Assembly. Hello, good afternoon.
Across the northern region, members of clock-sack have resumed. We visited the Tamale Metro Assembly, the Sablugu Municipal Assembly, and we came to the Kumbungu District Assembly. The motorbikes you see around are a confirmation that it is full house, and we entered the offices to find out what was going on, even though they didn't allow us to take videos from what is happening inside the rooms. The secretary to clock-sack in the Kumbungu district, Mr. Eliasu, told us that their members are back and they are carrying out their services full swing. We are also told that members within the assembly, numbering over 170, are all back to work at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the Vocational Training Institute. Work is ongoing. From Kumbungu in the northern region, Mutala Issa for GBC News.
Let's go back to our Bono East Regional correspondent Samuel Ayama, who is currently at the Techima Municipal Assembly. Ayama, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michelin. Here in the Bono East region, all the members of the clock-sack, they are back attending to their normal activities. And then as we speak, when I visited some of the areas, most of the public institutions where clock-sack members are working there, they are all back, and they've promised that they will continue to do what they are supposed to do, and then wait for government to do the necessary arrangements and make sure that whatever that they are asking for, government is able to provide that so that they can equally contribute their quota towards the development of the country. I have with me here the MC for Techima to tell us the impact of the strike, Mr. Benjamin Yao Yako. What has been the impact of this strike?
Thank you very much, Sammy. Good afternoon to your listeners. I think the strike for these 3 weeks that our members went on strike, work had not been so successful. All the things that we wanted to do, we could not do them as expected. Our meetings, our external programs, and even projects that we had taken that we needed to supervise, we could not get the full complement of staff to undertake those projects. So it's really affected our work, and the public were also not having access to the work that they normally come here to seek for. So it's within the period, it was only me and the coordinating director at times, and few officers who are called when the need arises. So it's really affected our operations.
So were you giving information whenever you need them? You call them to come back and give it to you?
Yes, whenever I needed them, I called them. Thankfully, they were so cooperative.
Even on strike?
Even on strike. Because at the time, the MMDC were also supposed to submit report to the ministry. So I really had that discussion with them. So they knew I was working on that report. So anytime I needed them, they were very responsive. They accordingly came and gave me some of the information that I needed. But, I didn't have it the way it should have been if, work was fully in progress. But because they were on strike, you cannot force anyone to come to give any information as you would have done if work was in session. So it really affected. Again, if you go to revenue aspects, we couldn't get enough commitment as we required, because you can also force the officer. But thankfully, we had majority of our collectors. But upon checking the outcome of our mobilization, I realized that it had a toll on our revenue mobilization, because the commitment was not fully expanded as we wanted. So the public had their fair share of it, and then personally I also had my fair share of it. But thankfully, they are back, and today I have seen virtually all the staff that I needed to see. I've had 2 meetings already. We've gone out to engage some of our stakeholders on a meeting with my coordinating director. We've had a meeting within the office here. Work has really come back, and everybody is at post working as expected. So I'm hoping we're able to catch up where we lost and all the kind of backlog that this strike brought into our work.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have been speaking with the MC for Techimai on the impact of the strike by CLOSAC members. We'll keep an eye on the activities of CLOSAC and then keep our viewers updated. For GBC News, Samuel Ayama, Techimai.
Thank you, Samuel Ayama. From the Eastern region, our correspondent Michael Tey-Amate reports that members of CLOSAC have also reported to work at the New Draben North Municipal Assembly and New Draben South Municipal Assembly. Workers at the various departments were going about their normal duties. Correspondent Michael Tey-Amate is standing by to give us more. Hello, good afternoon, Michael.
Hello, afternoon.
Michael, were all the offices you visited at the 2 assemblies operating?
Yes, so far I've visited a New Draben North and South Municipal Assemblies as well as the Eastern Regional Coordinating. After 11:30 that I visited these areas, I've seen that all the workers resumed. All the departments were open and the workers were working perfectly.
How are they coping with the backlog of work following the 3 weeks of strike?
Well, as I'm speaking to you now, because of the burial rights of the Omahini of New Draben, Professor Dazibra Otibos, I think some of the departments, some of the workers from the other departments couldn't resume because they claim that today that they resume work. So they are expecting that after the funeral, the workers will come and then full work will start at the various assemblies.
Did the workers raise any concerns, considering the fact that the neutrality has been cancelled, has been scrapped?
Yes, according to the deputy coordinator of the New Draben Municipal Assembly, Madam Victoria Gatti, she said that they suspend the strike, and if they look forward for government up to some time, government they not fulfill their promises, they will resume the strike again. However, they claim that yes, they deserve the neutrality allowance. But yes, a government has scrapped it. But they claim that according to them, with their bosses at the headquarters over there, they said they've negotiated with government, and government said because of the out of the neutrality allowance, they will give the other allowance to just cushion them in their work.
Did you speak to some members of the public who had visited to have their things registered? What were their response?
Come again.
I am asking if you spoke to some members of the public who have visited the offices to have their things registered.
Yes. I spoke to some of them, and they claim that their 3-week strike has really affected them, especially those who go there to take a license for their various jobs. That is really affected them. So they thank God that today they resume well. So they believe that everything will go on well for them.
Thank you very much, Michael. We are grateful. I was speaking with Michael Tey-Amate. He is our Eastern Regional correspondent, and he reported from New Draben North Municipal Assembly and New Draben South Municipal Assembly, where work has resumed. A week after reopening of all basic schools for the second term of the academic year, caterers of the school feeding program are yet to report at some of the schools in the Kumasi metropolis and the Asokwa municipality of the Ashanti region. Our regional correspondent Nicholas Oseiwusu has visited some of the schools and has joined us to tell us more. Hello, good afternoon. Nicholas? Well, we are trying to get through to our correspondent, Nicholas Osei-Wusu, who has visited some schools in the Ashanti region regarding the school feeding program, where caterers are yet to report because of certain concerns they've raised. Nicholas, can you hear me? Nicholas, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Did you see any of the caterers at post, or where you visited, none had reported yet?
Four schools that are supposed to be beneficiaries of the school feeding program are the number or the areas that I visited just a few days ago to find out the actual situation. And of all these 4 schools I visited, 3 within a cluster in the Kumasi school, the Police, and then 1 in the African municipality. None of them had stations around to prepare meal for their students. None of them was also aware of the reason for the absence of these stations at post. Then also, they were unable to tell whether or not the school educators are going to return to their post. But the information given by all these headmasters in all these schools I visited was one, that since school reopened about a week ago, the school feeding program caterers have not been at post. So some of the parents have had to provide for the lunch of their kids when they come to school. Some of them are not even aware the caterers are not coming to school, and so it has also become a difficult burden for some of these teachers who take up for the children. But they have to also don't have some money to spend for or provide for the lunch of some of these people in their care. So that is basically the situation on the ground. They are not able to tell when the caterers are going to return. They are not aware of the only reason as to why the caterers have not reported to see since schools creating. And I think some of the kitchens of these caterers, and there wasn't anything around indicating that the caterers were at post.
Thank you very much, Nicholas Osei-Wusu. We are grateful. Nicholas Osei-Wusu is our Ashanti regional correspondent. He visited some schools where caterers have not reported yet with regards to the school feeding program. And so children whose parents hope that they will get one hot meal in the afternoon. Well, from Wa in the Upper West region, our correspondent Swala Abdul Wahab reports that caterers at Sambesi School also have not cooked since school reopened last week. The caterers are demanding an increase in their allowances from 97 pesos to 3 cedis per child. They are also asking the government to pay all arrears owed them to enable them to pay their suppliers.
These children you have seen are supposed to enjoy one hot meal a day in school, but for the past weeks we are told none of the children have had that opportunity. We are just by the kitchen of St. Paul's Methodist Primary School, and this is where the cooks prepare the food for the children. It is visibly clear that for some days now no fire has been lighted here. Some of the caterers who spoke with GBC News off camera say they are unable to cook with the 97 pesos given to them by the government to prepare food for the children. For them, the increase to the 3 Ghana cedis they are requesting for will enable them to prepare quality food for the children so that they can enjoy while in school. For GBC News, Swala Abdul Wahab. Wa.
It's still News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Like and share. The Emergency Medical Technicians Association of Ghana says the lives of their members have been seriously threatened, emanating from incessant attacks from unknown persons, putting their families in a state of fear. They briefed the media in Accra on this development. My colleague Peter Agengre was at this interaction and is in the studio with us to give us more detail. Good afternoon, Michael. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Peter Agengre.
What are the emergency medical technicians saying could be the cause of these recent attacks?
Right. So they were not able to tell because they were wondering why they who are always the first point of call whenever there's an accident or there are robbery cases where people get wounded. They are always the first point of call to rush victims to the nearest health center. But they were surprised. They could not even give answers to why they are often attacked by some of these attackers. And so they were somehow calling on the authorities, including government, including the Ghana Police Service, to give them that protection, because they are people who give life, they are people who protect lives of victims, of people who fall or get accidents. And so they don't know why people should be attacking them. Now, they also talked about a number of some of these cases that they have recorded since the EMS or EMTS started in Ghana, and that was in 2012. They mentioned a lot of places where they recorded some of these incidents. They talked about Damba Ambulance Station that was attacked in 2012. They talked about Tumu Ambulance Station, and that was attacked in 2019. That Tumu is in the Upper West region. They also talked about Funsi Ambulance attack. And all these, among many others, they listed about 13 attacks that they have recorded so far. And so they were calling on authorities of government to definitely give them that protection, because their families they always fear. They have that fear that their people have gone out there to work, and some of these unfortunate things are falling on them.
But have they been able to make any arrests?
Yes. So according to the president of the association, who made this, who read the statement to us, one Ghani Michael Dinomso, he said that no arrest has been made so far, even though some of their workers have died. He mentioned an incident that happened in the eastern region where one of their members passed on, one of their members lost their life. And that has been a worry to the association, and they are calling on government to definitely see how best they can maybe help bring the perpetrators of that crime to book. Of course, the recent one that happened was in the Upper East region in Zebila, where the ambulance service, they were transporting a victim from, not a victim, but a patient from the Presbyterian Hospital in Boku to Bogatanga. There was that attack on this particular ambulance, and most of their workers had to run. When they confronted, the people even confronted the workers, they told them that they have been saving people's lives in Boku anytime some of them get wounded, and that is why they were attacking them. And that was a worry to EMT and their team.
So now the basic thing is they are calling on the government and security authorities to provide more security for them while they do their work. Thank you very much, Michael Agengre. We are most great. Peter Agengre, my colleague, just returned from an Emergency Medical Technician Association of Ghana, who says the lives of their members have been seriously threatened, emanating from incessant attacks from unknown persons, putting their lives and that of their family at risk. You are watching NewsHour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. Time to go for another interview. The Ministry of National Security has cautioned all religious groups in the country to institute security measures in their place of worship. This follows the growing threats of terrorism in the sub-region and the expansionist drive of the terrorist group towards the coastal West African states. The group has adopted a renewed modus operandi of targeting public gatherings, including places of worship. We are joined via Zoom by Dr. Adam Bona, a security analyst, to give us some more insight on the security situation in the country and what citizens can do to keep safe. Hello, good afternoon, sir. Hello, Doc. Good afternoon. Welcome to News Hour. Is the call by the national securities for religious bodies to put security measures in place appropriately? Well, I'm having difficulty hearing Dr. Bona. He is to speak to the ministry's national security caution on all religious groups in the country to institute security measures in their places of worship. Hello, Dr. Adam. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us. We are most grateful. Is the call by the national security for religious bodies to put security measures in place appropriately?
Your line is, I hardly hear you.
Is it clearer now? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can, yes.
I can also hear you. Thank you for joining News Hour.
Yeah.
The question was, is the call by national security for religious bodies to put security measures in place?
Okay, yes. Well, I think I'm not saying, I'm not saying it is a good call, even though I would have wished that national security would have gotten the call. Because if you look at the modus of what we call it, and how they have attacked, they keep switching from one angle to the other. Today, they will attack the mosque, the next day a church, they attack schools, they have attacked, banks, terminals, they've attacked, entertainment centers, and, so I'm not out of concern. It's a good call to awaken all of us that we should have been brought up. That way, our state of alert should have been heightened. As we speak, our state of alert is not a really heightened, situation. And so everything is normal. If I saw someone who is suspicious, who do I report? How does the terrorist look like? Is somebody telling any of us how a terrorist looks like? What is the public education on countering terrorists in our country? So we have the blueprint that will point us to how to stop a potential terrorist, or how to stop a potential radicalizing scheme, or radicalizing social center where they have to be radicalized. How do you stop that? Education has to be looked at. I know a lot of measures have already been put in place. Security agencies are, we have the border posts, we have some military bases, foreign bases are getting constructed or being put together. We have some quick up and down. The national security is also tied to some amount of mobilization. But I think that we need to up our game and improve on what we are doing in order to be able to counter any terror activity on our soil.
Doc, some have argued that such cautions should be made confidentially rather than in public. What is your take on it?
Can you repeat what you said?
Some have argued that such calls for caution should be done in secrecy so that they will not know our next move. What is your take on it?
No. Everybody, the terrorists don't come and attack you secretly. Terrorists have been, the recent one that is been so they attack military posts, armed forces, security, And so mine is that it is important to forewarn us and let us know that individuals, we need to be careful, organizations, we have careful, and all that. And so as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to also believe that all the information that our national security agencies have is everything they have shared with us. They will give us at least what they think is good enough for us as we move on. Some of us are even asking for more public education, sensitization, and improvement with regard to systems that have been put in place to counter terror attacks in our backyard.
Mr. Adam Bona, before I take leave of you, the target of these terrorists are all public gatherings and not only churches. How can the security apparatus be ahead of these terrorists? And really, if they strike, can church leaders, for instance, stand against them?
Well, if I got your question right, you're talking about how the state can be ahead of these terror cells. It is by that intelligence. If you go to our other communities, how sensitized are these other communities? Do they know what number? I haven't changed any hotline number score if I want. If I take in care, who do I call? I haven't seen anything like that. And so, yes, they can stay ahead by putting in something. Let's go, who is coming in? We have the, free ECOWAS movement. So everybody is crossing the coming. But when people cross and they come, do we know whether they fled for their social? Secondly, you are talking about what they call it unemployment. Unemployment itself is a trigger. Because young people who are hungry and don't have any work to do are likely to be radicalized more than those who are working in meaningful business. And so unemployment is a trigger. Social and social amenities, water. You go to some of our communities, there is no water, electricity. And so if this terror actors coming in or someone decides to radicalize them, they usually will start by providing them some of this essential amenities. And by doing so, they tend to believe them and they tend to radicalize. And so I think we need to see a lot more, in this area. Dealing with terror activity was always a multifaceted. We need to look at government and ensuring that whatever it is done and done.
Thank you very much. I was speaking with Dr. Adam Bona. He's a security analyst, and he says that security checks at our borders should be intensified first of all, and the general livelihoods of citizens and employment should be improved to help curb the penetration of these terrorist attacks. You're watching News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. Time to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly with more stories. Please do stay.
Good afternoon. We bring you business updates now. My name is Maurice Ogbete. It's Monday. Now, the banking industry and the investor community await with keen interest the next policy rate decision by the central bank as inflation threatens interest rates and loan advancements. Bond buyers have had to resort to the short-term end of the market cutting the availability of patient capital to banks. Major banks such as Cow Bank say the bank's decision to grow its loan book is hinged on what the central bank does to the policy rates on Monday.
There is, in respect of the first question, considering the rates at which inflation is moving and also interest rate is moving, you cannot exactly indicate as to when the breaks will be. However, what we are seeing on the market is that it's having a direct impact on the bond market. It's also having a direct impact on the FX side also. However, what we are seeing is a lot of bondholders are now being careful to trade on a short end or to purchase on a short end, not to go too much into the long term or medium term because of the rate at which we are moving. And that's also having a direct impact on GR, and people are also monitoring these two variables. Once the interest rates are moving, customers are prepared to go on a short end to take advantage of the repricing that we are seeing. However, we have to monitor what the regulator will be doing as a central bank in terms of next MPC, what will be the next policy rate direction, and that will also direct what the market will be doing. So these are a few things we'll be monitoring, and we believe that the market is still fluid and it's not stable at the moment. Definitely, they would increase what we are seeing both on non-food inflation and food inflation going up. The regulator would definitely have to consider all these variables and maybe adjust the MPC in the next meeting. So we believe that they will definitely edge up, and that will also influence the interbank market, that will also influence the bond market, and also that will affect the total interest rate markets going forward.
We would continue to keep an eye on our loan book. Our KPI is to ensure that we keep non-performing loans below 10%. At the moment, we are below 10%. We have our projections to grow our loan book, but we will be very cautious and ensure that as the market dynamics changes, we also respond to that and make sure that we do not impact negatively on the quality of the loan book just by growing the loan book.
And also in business, the newly elected president of the West African Insurance Company Association, Mr. George Mensah, has pledged to focus on spending or speeding up the harmonization of insurance companies in the sub-region. Mr. Mensah is also the managing director of Ghana Reinsurance PLC. He said the gathering of 400 delegates from Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and the Gambia for the 2022 WICA conference warrants a united front to move the sub-region forward.
Conference being held here in Ghana meant that the insurance industry in Ghana get to choose an individual to be the president of WICA for the ensuing year. WICA seeks to break down the borders within the West African region and also work with the many regulators within the region to try to bring some similarities within the rules and regulations within the West African region for doing insurance business. And so it could only inure to the benefit of the insurance industry and within the region. Whilst one may say that, but it will bring competition. Competition is actually good. Competition would ensure that the company's standing becomes stronger and healthier. If you look at the Francophone countries, what they call the CIMA zone, they have one commission which sits in Gabon. So once you have license from that particular commission in Gabon, then you can do business in virtually all the Francophone countries, all the CIMA countries. Something of the sort is what WICA will seek to push, so that if I get license from NIC here in Ghana, it grants me the right to write business in Nigeria and vice versa.
Let's go to the court because the case involving CEO of defunct gold dealership company Men's Gold, Nana Pia Mensah, known as NAM1, has been adjourned again to the second week of July 2022. This follows a request by the prosecutor that the Attorney General's Department is here to decide the way forward for the case. The trial, which is yet to commence, has seen several adjournments at the instance of the prosecution requesting for more time. Sometime in February this year, lawyers for Nana Pia Mensah pleaded with the court to strike out the charges against him if the prosecution was not ready for the trial. Namuan, who was in court on Monday, is facing 61 charges, including defrauding by false pretense. His plea is yet to be taken. He is alleged to have taken various sums of money amounting to 6 billion cedis from customers. He was granted bail in the sum of 1 billion Ghana cedis with 5 sureties, 3 to be justified on July 26, 2022. And that was business. The news will continue after this break. Stay with us.